My brother went abroad, and the 3 women who secretly had a crush on him came to me, asking me to be his substitute. The female CEO bought me a house and a car. The rich heiress lay in my arms singing love songs and playing games, and the cold beauty patiently guided me in writing papers and doing research. I knew that their kindness was only because of my brother. I never thought too much about it, just diligently played the role of a substitute, until my brother returned home. Who knew that after I collected the compensation, I vanished without a trace, yet they regretted it. Chapter 1. I was my brother's substitute. After he went abroad, the first one to come find me was the female CEO, Willow. She exuded a sharp chill as if she had lowered herself, throwing a contract onto the table and saying, "Sign it. I don't want to force you to drop out of school." I agreed. The second was the rich heiress, Maria. She drove a fiery red Lamborghini and stopped at the place where I worked part-time, dragging me out of the store, pinching my chin. She stared at me for a long time before saying, "You really look like your brother." I said, "You want me to be the substitute, don't you?" She smiled. "That works too." The third was Sophia. She never explicitly mentioned the word substitute, but after my brother left, she took me to write papers and do research, and often lost herself staring at my face. Others asked me how I managed to conquer the aloof goddess. I said, "With my face," but it should be in parentheses, "with my brother's face." Chapter 2. Except for our looks, my brother and I had almost nothing in common. He did things boldly and swiftly, with an extraordinary presence. I, on the other hand, was always slow. To put it nicely, I was just a smooth and gentle guy. To be a good substitute, I tried imitating my brother's words and behavior, but they were not satisfied. Willow sneered, saying my imitation was clumsy and boring. Maria laughed until tears came out, thanking me, the low-budget version, for bringing her endless amusement. Sophia silently watched me for a few seconds, then frowned her beautiful brows and scolded me as disgusting. I reflected bitterly. The substitute market is too competitive these days. If I didn't upgrade myself in time, relying only on this face, my competitiveness was actually pretty average. I see that someone is already preparing to undergo plastic surgery to look like my brother. After pondering all night, I had an epiphany. They liked my brother, and hoped my brother would like them too. But my brother was focused only on his career, never dabbling in romance, and didn't even have a single female friend around him. Whereas I, since childhood, had always been surrounded by beautiful girls, often making them giggle with joy. I thought, they must like it even more if my brother could coax them, right? Chapter 3. It was the second year of me being a substitute, when Willow called and asked me to come over. I was at Maria's house playing games with her. She asked, "Where are you?" Maria was deeply focused on the game, not looking my way, so I answered honestly, "At a friend's house playing games." Willow hung up and sent me the address for this meeting. It was a newly opened art gallery. I glanced at the clock on the wall and was speechless. It was already past 10 at night, going to see paintings instead of sleeping. Wasn't this purely? A transfer notification popped up. Alipay deposit, 100,000 yuan. Right, this was something only an art enthusiast with pure passion could do. Just as I was feeling pleased, Maria pulled me toward her. She leaned on my shoulder and casually asked, "Who called you?" I said, "My dad won 100,000 yuan in the lottery and told me to come home." Maria clearly didn't believe me, but she didn't press further. She simply dragged me to play 3 more rounds before letting go. She wasn't someone easy to fool. Sure enough, when I reached the door to put on my shoes, she suddenly asked, "Was it Sophia?" Sophia was the one I had the most contact with, so it was normal Maria suspected her. I nodded readily. The experimental data had issues. She asked me to go back and fix it. I was afraid you'd overthink, so I lied. She smirked faintly. "What's there to lie about? Do you think I care?" I lowered my head, pretending to be very hurt, and whispered, "I'm sorry, it won't happen again." Without waiting for her response, I turned and left. Back then, I had only asked her if she wanted me to be a substitute for one reason. She was stunning. Her beauty was breathtaking at first glance, especially her eyes, which seemed to hold galaxies within, radiant with confidence. But to be honest, no matter how beautiful someone is, after 2 years you'd probably be tired of it. Not to mention, I was really busy lately. At first, it was fine. The 3 of them were disciplined, not contacting me too much, and every meeting never lasted over half an hour. But maybe I was too professional in playing the substitute, because recently, they had been clinging to me more and more. With graduation approaching, everything piling up together, even I, the so-called master of time management, was starting to struggle. I decided that after this game season ended, I wouldn't play with Maria anymore. The taxi stopped. I paid and got out, seeing Willow under the dim streetlight, dressed in an OL business suit, exuding capability and elegance. I quickly put on a sweet smile, walked toward her, and pulled her into my arms, whispering in her ear, My dear, I missed you so much. Did you miss me? She lowered her gaze, her fingers tracing my eyebrows and eyes in the air. The strict, meticulous work machine suddenly revealed human emotions. She said seriously, I missed you a lot. Parentheses, I missed your brother a lot. I silently completed the sentence for her in my heart. Chapter 4. Willow, who seemed the most deep-minded, was actually the easiest to handle. I held her hand tightly, rubbing my face against it. She didn't refuse. I reached out, trying to intertwine our fingers. This time, she pulled away. A domineering female CEO always has some quirks. Willow's quirks were well known in her circle, and everyone deliberately avoided touching on them. She hated people touching her, especially skin-to-skin contact. Usually, she covered herself up tightly and kept piles of gloves at home. It had taken me 2 years just to make her allow me to hug her through clothing, but I had once seen her holding my brother's hand, carefully treating his wounds. I bit my lip, gently stepped back 2 steps, and hooked her arm through her sleeve. Cutie, why did you suddenly feel like seeing paintings? As usual, she was taciturn, not answering my question. She led me into the gallery, and only then did I get the answer. It turned out my brother had released new works. Willow stared at the painting, lost in thought. I was so sleepy. Yawning, I looked around in boredom. Not just this one, the majority of the gallery's exhibits bore my brother's name. He was endlessly energetic. Painting wasn't even a hobby for him, just something he did casually when he had spare time. So most of them were unfinished, the quality hard to describe. He probably never expected them to sell. The buyer was most likely Willow. I asked her, if I could paint too, would you buy mine and hang it here? Her expression stayed calm. Don't compare yourself to him. What she meant was, I didn't measure up. I stubbornly pressed. I'm not comparing. I just want someone to treat me that well too. Is it really impossible? A flash of irritation darted through her eyes. At last, she shifted her gaze from the painting to me, her voice turning cold. If you don't want to stay, then leave. I deliberately let my eyes redden at the corners. I'm not being unreasonable. Get out. As expected, Willow cut off my still unfinished excuse and ordered me to scram. I quickly rolled out. Too sleepy. I still had class tomorrow. Who had time to stay here and watch her miss my brother? Crazy. Alipay deposit, 100,000 yuan. A rich, foolish female CEO. I love her so much. Chapter 5. After that, neither Willow nor Maria came to see me, so I was finally able to calm down and study with Sophia. In the end, my grades turned out quite good. After the exams, I invited Sophia to dinner at a fairly upscale restaurant. Never in my life did I expect to run into Maria there. And Maria wasn't alone. She brought along a handsome man. The two of them were unusually intimate. I took the chance to snap several photos. The gaming season had ended, my rank had gone up, and I'd been worrying about how to find an excuse to end things with her. Well, here it was. When I got back, I showed her the photos I'd taken. She wasn't moved in the slightest, lounging lazily on the sofa, a contemptuous smile playing at her lips. You can go to Sophia, but I can't go to someone else. So, she had seen it. Then why didn't she react? Suddenly I realized she didn't like me. If she didn't care, of course she wouldn't react. It couldn't be that she was playing a game of pride. If I didn't take the initiative, she wouldn't either. I was still pondering when she stood up and came to me, looking down at me from head to toe. In a surprisingly good mood, she asked, so in what capacity are you asking me this question? As my boyfriend. You like me, want to be with me? I thought, absolutely not. A woman like her, fine to play with, but in a real relationship she'd only bring torment. During this whole arrangement, Maria had never been ambiguous with just me. One moment she'd sing me a heartfelt love song, the next she'd have her arm around another man's waist, whispering, do you know how much I love you? Even her so-called love for my brother was half-hearted. She claimed he was her true love, but she never stopped hiring male models. In front of him, she acted proper, but in private, she was wilder than me. Yet I couldn't deny, she did have the charm to make people fall for her. Maria, heiress of the Lin family, generous with money, sweet-tongued, a natural flirt. All her ex-boyfriends spoke highly of her, except me. She always deliberately said hurtful things just to see my reaction. No matter what I did, she laughed, making me feel less like a substitute and more like a stand-up comedian performing crosstalk. I thought she was just using me for entertainment, but the tone of her question and the faint suggestion in her eyes unsettled me. Could it be, this lady actually wanted me to be her boyfriend? My silent resistance made her expression change slightly. Her smile faded, her voice turning cold. Get down. She stared at me, her expression growing darker, until finally she burst out laughing. Just asking casually, and you really started to consider it? A substitute like you, don't think too much. I let out a sigh of relief, then I went along with it, reddening my eyes as I said, when you keep treating me this way, do you think I don't have a heart? Do you think I can't feel hurt? Without waiting for her reply, I hurriedly delivered the rest of the lines I'd prepared. Maria, I regret it. I shouldn't have gotten involved with you. And I don't want to be anyone's substitute anymore. Let's not see each other again. After saying that, I bolted from her house like an Olympic sprinter, afraid that if I delayed even a second, I'd start laughing out loud. The heiress had her quirks, and so did I. I liked treating myself like the tragic male lead of a melodrama, liking but not getting, savoring the thrill of finally declaring it over. God, that felt good. Chapter 6. The thrill only lasted for a moment. Dealing with the aftermath was much more troublesome. It had always been Maria who initiated the breakups. If I beat her to it, of course she wouldn't accept it willingly. When she came to block me at my home, Sophia happened to be there tutoring me. She was competitive, and dragged me into her competitiveness as well. Originally, I only allowed her to get close because I wanted this free, top-level tutor to explain problems to me. But she was too serious, which made me feel embarrassed to slack off. Of course, it wasn't because she had some charitable heart. She admired strength and was arrogant. I'd heard she had even scolded her advisor to tears before, and she had zero patience talking to weak people. That weak included me and all other ordinary folks with average intelligence. Now, the fact that she could tolerate my pestering, praise me for having talent, and seriously teach me was still for the sake of my brother. She didn't want me to embarrass my always top-ranked brother, and I had to admit, she did have real ability. In 2 years, she helped me secure the #1 spot, and even gain the qualification for guaranteed graduate admission. After finishing an explanation for a problem, she once again stared at my face in a daze. I adjusted my angle to make myself look more like my brother. The heat in her gaze was completely unrestrained, burning in a way that clashed with her cold demeanor. The silence was shattered by loud, heavy knocking. From the sound alone, I knew it was Maria. Sophia asked who it was. I said it was a neighbor. Maybe someone downstairs whose car wasn't parked properly. She moved as if to get up and go with me, but I pressed her back down, refusing to let her. The moment I opened the door, I saw Maria, dark, furious, her expression twisted. She sneered. "Took you long enough to open the door. Who's inside? Afraid I'd see." She shoved past me into the apartment like a wolf patrolling its territory. Just then, Sophia heard the commotion and walked out of the bedroom. The two of them locked eyes. Maria laughed in disbelief, her anger only rising. My scalp went numb, and I silently stepped back. Sophia pulled me behind her protectively. "Maria, this is your idea of manners, breaking into someone else's home." Maria tried to drag me out from behind her, but Sophia pressed her back, blocking her attempt. Grabbing Sophia's wrist, Maria snapped impatiently, "I'm here for my boyfriend. What's it got to do with you?" Sophia turned to look at me. "Do you like her?" I instinctively showed a bitter smile, but then I remembered, I was no longer a substitute. I didn't owe Maria any professional ethics, so I bit my lip, shrank timidly behind Sophia, and whispered, "I don't know her. She's making things up." Maria gritted her teeth, so angry her eyes even seemed a little red. "George, come out. Let's talk properly." After all, looking for a substitute was hardly something to be proud of. Chapter 7. I was certain Maria wouldn't dare expose what happened between us in front of Sophia, who also secretly liked my brother, and Sophia, being upright, had never bluntly told me to act as a substitute. We were clean and innocent. Maria wouldn't suspect I had anything going on with her. So I said righteously, "There's nothing for us to talk about." Then I tugged at Sophia's sleeve, deliberately playing weak. "Sister Sophia, she's so scary. Should we call the police?" Maria's face turned darker than the bottom of a pot, and she spat out 3 consecutive good. Her dangerous gaze fell on me. "Scumbag, you said I was the only one. Said you only liked me. Was that all a lie?" Her expression looked like she wanted to kill Sophia first, then me. I said blankly, "Why are you angry? Don't you remember how you reacted when I said that?" Back then, she had laughed so hard she nearly fell over, saying my lines were too outdated. Then she warned me never to say such things while wearing my brother's face. It didn't fit. Maria clearly remembered too. For a moment, her expression faltered unnaturally. I puffed myself up for a second before shrinking back behind Sophia. Sophia seemed quite satisfied with my performance. She squeezed my hand, as if to reassure me. Then she looked Maria straight in the eye. "Please leave." Just then, my phone rang, and both of them glanced over. Willow's name was saved simply as her name. In a panic, I tried to hang up but accidentally pressed answer. "I'm downstairs at your place. Come out." She hung up. The words were quiet, but they roared in my ears. I was caught between 2 women. It felt like I was doomed, but not without hope. Willow's voice had sounded strange today, thick with congestion, weary and husky. They probably hadn't recognized it. Heaven help me. I glanced at my phone, feigned panic, and hurried to grab my bag. The sudden change of events stunned both of them. When I tried to leave, Maria blocked me. "What are you doing? Why so urgent?" I skillfully made myself look frantic and shoved her. Move. My dad's in trouble. He needs me right away. Maria softened instantly. Don't cry. I'll go with you. No, just move. Maria still insisted on coming with me. I turned my head toward Sophia with a pleading look. Sophia's cold eyes lingered on me for a few seconds before she stepped forward and held Maria back. I didn't know whether she noticed Willow's name on my screen, but since she chose to help me, that meant it was something to deal with later. Right now, Willow was what mattered. My ancestor without a drop of shared blood. I rushed into the car, still breathless, and blurted out, Willow, you finally came to see me. I'm sorry. That day sign it. I froze. Willow's eyes were closed, her long, thick lashes casting shadows over the faint bluish tint beneath her eyes. She looked fragile and exhausted. I glanced at the contract by her side. If I signed it, 2 downtown apartments and 3 luxury cars under her name would all be mine. On top of that, there was a check, blank, meaning, fill in whatever I wanted. I heard my own voice tremble. Willow, what is this? Luis is coming back next month. She lifted her gaze to me and continued, her voice devoid of emotion. It's time to settle accounts. Chapter 8. I almost wanted to cry out of excitement. I guess I was just inexperienced. When I was little, I was kidnapped by human traffickers and wasn't brought back to the Wong family until I was 16. I never fit in with the Wong family. I wasn't smart, not as outstanding as my brother, and I even embarrassed myself often to earn my parents' affection. I tried my hardest and got admitted into the best university in the country, but they weren't happy because I had gotten into the worst major there. Meanwhile, my brother not only had guaranteed admission but also casually took the entrance exam and became the top scorer in the country. No matter what my brother did, he excelled, and me, the only area I slightly surpassed him in was dating. Later, I accidentally overheard their plan. They wanted me to marry a woman 10 years older than me, someone whose looks and character I didn't even know, as part of a business alliance. Terrified, I ran away from the Wong family that very night. They called me, asking me to come home. After I rejected them a few times, they stopped insisting. My brother was actually kind. When he found out, he fought with them bitterly, then came to see me at my rented apartment. He handed me a bank card. There was money inside, but I never used it. Everything has a price. Something given, something owed. I didn't dare touch it, but I wanted money. I wanted a home. I wanted to buy a modest house, a place not too big or too small, where I could curl up after work and sleep in peace, without worrying about being thrown out. I thought it would take me a long time to achieve that dream. I never imagined. Tears welled up as I looked at Willow, my voice trembling as I asked slowly, really, it's all over? Willow didn't answer. It was as if she didn't want to look at me, or perhaps she was just too tired to speak. I should have acted a little more, but these things were far too tempting. I couldn't resist. I signed immediately, signed fast, as if I had been impatiently waiting for this day all along. Willow turned her head slightly. That was when I realized something was wrong. If she gave me so much, there had to be a perfect ending to it all. Clutching the contract, I squeezed it so hard the paper wrinkled in my grip. It hurt like hell. With an ugly smile, I forced the words out, after the settlement, will we still be friends? Willow said, not friends. So, strangers. Then, as expected of a domineering CEO, cutting ties so decisively, I gave a bitter laugh and nodded. All right, I understand. I wish you happiness. Maybe because she was sick, she was even quieter than usual, offering no response. Or maybe she just couldn't be bothered. Now, I wasn't a substitute anymore, just an irrelevant stranger, and she wouldn't say much to a stranger. I opened the car door, walked a couple of steps, then suddenly wanted to look back at her. That day, she had clenched a cigarette between her teeth to threaten me into being my brother's substitute. Today, at the end, it was still the same. After I left, she lit a cigarette and smoked harshly, as if she hadn't expected me to return. She choked on the smoke, covering her mouth as she coughed. I leaned back in through the car window, took the cigarette from her fingers. I stubbed it halfway, pocketing the remaining half. Smoke less. It stinks. My brother doesn't like it. And what about you? She asked out of nowhere. I chuckled lightly. Doesn't matter, does it, President Liu? The color drained from her face. I had never thought the word wilted could describe her. Her sorrow came so suddenly, so inexplicably. The old me might have overthought what her emotions meant at that moment. Not anymore. Strangers, what was there to say? Chapter 9. I never went back home. Maria nearly blew up my phone. Even after I blocked her, she always had new numbers. Later, I finally changed my SIM card to get some peace. With Sophia, I kept my words measured. The closeness we had built up over 2 years, I pushed it all back myself. She asked if I needed help. I said no. She asked why I knew Willow. I said it was none of her business. After that, she stopped saying anything at all. I began preparing for going abroad. Our school had a study abroad program before. I had given it up painfully in order to save money for a house. But now, with the house secured and money enough, I gathered all the materials and submitted them. As expected, the review passed. The day I flew abroad happened to be the same day my brother returned to the country. His flight was in the morning. Mine was in the afternoon. But I was pressed for time. I couldn't meet him in person again. So I stuck to the plan, asked my friend to return to him the bank card he had once given me. I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. Right before boarding, a flood of messages suddenly popped up on my phone. That day you went downstairs, was it to see Willow? George, where are you? How dare you two-time us? You're dead. It was obviously Maria. I was baffled, and couldn't help but reply, what do you mean two-timing? It's not like we were seriously together. Why be so mad? She immediately called. I hung up. She called again. Finally, I threatened her. Call again and I'll block you. What's your relationship with Sophia and Willow? None. None. Then why did Willow say you're hers? I wasn't surprised that they found out I had been substituting for all three. My brother loved crowds, was well liked, and of course his return had to be celebrated with a big welcoming banquet. Sophia, Maria, and Willow were closest to him. When the three of them met, it was inevitable that something slipped. What did surprise me was Willow's words. Clearly we had settled things, so why would she still say that? Go ask Willow. Where are you? I'll come find you. I blocked her. Even Sophia's long quiet chat box lit up with messages. I'm very disappointed. Why didn't you tell me about you and Willow, and Maria? Sophia had helped me a lot, so I replied patiently, because you're just like them. You only liked seeing me wear this face, doing the things my brother would never do, and enjoyed feeling adored and close to him. Since you knew, why did you still approach me? Because there weren't many people who treated me well. You were one of them. I typed that out, but it sounded so melodramatic even I laughed at myself, so I deleted it, and retyped. We both just got what we wanted. She never replied again. From Willow, there was no message, but an older student I knew, who worked under her, called me. George, where are you now? The company is hiring. The benefits are good. Do you want to try? Willow's company was notoriously hard to get into, even with internal referrals. I'd never have a chance, obviously. This was fake. I politely declined, but the senior wouldn't give up, still trying to persuade me, until I had to cut him off. Senior, the plane is about to take off. I'll talk to you after I land. He paused, confused. Where are you going? Found a job already, out of province. I said, something like that. From the perspective of a world united, crossing countries was also, in a sense, crossing provinces. Chapter 10. I spent a year abroad. The wild, extravagant life I had imagined never appeared. Instead, I studied so hard every day my vision went dark. I dated 2 people, but the day after I confessed my feelings, both of them immediately said they wanted to break up, giving me the strangest looks. Later, I found out why. Apparently, there was a rumor saying I was the heir of some mysterious East Asian family, and anyone who dated me would be fed to the sharks the very next day. Utterly absurd. And yet, everyone believed it wholeheartedly. I had never felt so defeated in my life. With no other choice, I turned my grief and frustration into motivation, devoted myself fully to studying, and managed to win a few awards with real weight behind them. One project required me to return home, and after thinking it over, I joined. It was normal that they couldn't accept me being a substitute for 3 people at once back then. But now, more than a year had passed. My brother had been in the country the whole time. No matter how angry they had been, they probably didn't have the energy left to retaliate against me. After all, they were busy chasing my brother. Continuing to tangle with me, a mere substitute, would be beneath them. The day I returned, I headed straight to a bar, planning to find a gorgeous woman to have a drink with. Just as the drink was placed before me, I heard a chillingly familiar voice whisper near my ear. George, long time no see. She propped one hand on the bar, leaning close from behind me in a half embrace, an overly intimate pose. Maria. She was dressed provocatively, in a deep V-knit dress. A slight bend of her waist revealed her full cleavage. On her pale wrist was an unfamiliar tattoo, giving her an added air of menace. I calmly signaled the bartender to make her a drink too. Raising my glass to her, I took a sip. You here to have fun too? I asked. She grabbed me by the neck, gritting her teeth. Fun? My ass. Come home with me. I still have scores to settle with you. I brushed her hand off, speaking impatiently. Since we're meeting in a bar, why pretend there's any deep feeling left? Settle scores? What's there to settle? Between you and me, everything was clean. I said all that needed to be said. It was you who refused to accept it. Before she could reply, I set down my glass and smiled. And even if we take 100 steps back, you don't actually think I'm pathetic enough to fall for someone like you, do you? It was just playing around. Don't take it so seriously. Maria's fists clenched, her knuckles white, eyes rimmed with red. Still, She forced herself to speak. Don't say that. George, it was my fault before. I trampled on your feelings. Now I just want you to give me one chance. I laughed even more brightly, leaned close to her ear, and whispered, you have no chance. In those 2 years, Maria, I never once had feelings for you. Chapter 11. People are really strange. Back when I was a substitute, I sincerely treated them well, studied their preferences, tried to meet their emotional needs, and they dismissed me with contempt. But once I left, once I told them the truth and began treating them the way they had treated me, instead of being angry, they came sticking to me like simps. This project also had Sophia participating, so inevitably, we had to meet. She was much more mature than before, and she no longer wore the glasses she always had. She looked even more dazzling, even more attractive. In the past, when some projects needed investment, our advisors would take their students drinking. Whenever Sophia was there, I would insist on tagging along. Sophia had a weak stomach, and she was a lightweight. One drink and she was down. Some businessmen didn't like her aloof, untouchable demeanor, so they deliberately forced drinks on her. I blocked the drinks for her, took the initiative to toast others, drank until I could fall asleep sitting on a chair. Eventually, Sophia's advisor went around her and came to me, because at the banquet table, what they needed was exactly someone like me, good-looking, able to drink. After I left, I never contacted them again. Sophia must have trained herself. Her polite words flowed smoothly, and she downed 3 drinks in a row without batting an eye. Good for her. Everyone can live without everyone else. After several rounds, the deals were sealed, and the bosses stumbled drunkenly to their next appointments. Sophia and I were left behind, and just as I was getting up to leave, she suddenly grabbed me. Instinctively, I shook her off. Her lips pressed tight, her face pale, one hand clutching her stomach. She lifted her eyes to me, those beautiful almond-shaped eyes misted with tears. The flawless ice goddess looked so fragile it was startling. Her voice was weak. George, help me. I turned to call her advisor, but before I could finish a word, she tugged me again and collapsed into my arms. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist, burying her head in my chest, and muttered muffled words. George, my stomach hurts. For a woman, her grip was like iron. I tried pushing her away twice but couldn't. Clicking my tongue, I said, take medicine. Professor Sophia, please respect yourself. Sophia gave a faint laugh. Can I take that as concern? I snapped. Sophia, after 1 year, when did your skin get so thick? Let go. Since I couldn't break free, I let her lean, but lowered my head deliberately, stopping with my lips near her ear. She froze, didn't dodge. I spoke calmly. When my brother doesn't let you hug him, you just stand back and watch. When I don't let you hug me, you act deaf, pretend you didn't hear. No wonder you're Professor Sophia. You really know how to handle people. I've learned a lot. Her hands around my waist tightened for a second, then loosened. Her face pale. She said weakly, that's not what I meant. Sophia, I only see you as a friend. She bit her lip, seeming a little angry. A friend? Would you hold a friend tightly against your chest? Come on, beauty. Get it straight. You're the one who threw yourself at me. What about before? I scoffed. You still want to bring that up? I pushed her away, then added, you never said I was a substitute, but whether you thought of me as one, you know that in your heart. I'm vain. With Willow, it was for money. With Maria, it was because she was gorgeous, spoiled me, and was good at games. And you? Sweat beaded at her temple. She looked at me, then flinched away as if burned, embarrassed, even disheveled. She cut me off. George, stop. You were the last one to approach me. At the time, I made a bet with a friend. If I could conquer you, he'd buy me dinner for a month. Sophia took a deep breath, her hand pressing her stomach even harder. She shut her eyes, her red lips pressed tightly together, her face pale as paper. With a breath like silk, she whispered, I understand. Then her waist bent further, her body trembling, those cold, clear eyes fixed on me, filled with a hint of pleading, as if begging me to stay, afraid she might collapse from the pain. I called someone from outside to stay with her, then turned and left. There had never been any bet. I made it up, just to make her give up. Being with her wasn't about her status as a campus legend, or the face I'd gain from being by her side. My mindset back then had been twisted. If being a substitute once was fine, then twice was too. Why not a few more? After all, it cost me nothing. If I wanted affection and love, I had to calculate, to scheme, to invest effort. But sometimes, I also wanted to be liked for no reason at all. I was stubborn then, childish, and the result was predictable. Sometimes, I even regretted it. If only I had accepted Willow alone. She had drawn a clear line between me and my brother. After the settlement, she truly hadn't bothered me again. She had even given me a chance to change my life. The money she gave me was more than enough to cover my emotional damages. From the outcome, she was a good person. Until I walked out of the restaurant and saw a familiar car. The window slid down, revealing her cold, elegant CEO face. Her assistant opened the door with a broad smile. Mr. Wong, President Liu has been waiting for you for quite some time. Chapter 12. When I saw the contract by Willow's side, I couldn't help but laugh. This domineering CEO really was obsessed with contracts, no matter what. Everything had to be signed. I teased. Sign it, and what happens if I don't? Willow was thinner than before, her vitality even more drained. She looked like a beautiful stone statue, completely devoid of emotion. I don't have anything I can use to threaten you. She rubbed her temples, frowning. You've grown up. You're no longer a child. You have your own career now. That day, I shouldn't have let you go. I sat upright. So, President Liu, are you saying you regret it? She sounded weary. Honestly, I couldn't understand what Willow meant anymore. None of the three of them were fools. Back when I was a substitute, maybe they were fooled into thinking I really loved them. But once the three of them met, the truth naturally came out. Maria sought me out of unwillingness. Sophia probably missed the version of me who treated her well. But Willow, why? Even just the crumbs of wealth that slipped through her fingers were enough to change the fate of someone ordinary like me. Enough to make me worry-free for life. Now that the substitute market was so competitive, without true feelings or the willingness to debase myself as a simp, I had no competitiveness left. I looked at her in confusion. So what does President Liu mean? My brother is already back in the country. Are you still looking for a substitute? Not a substitute. A lover. Not a lover. A secretary. Assistant. No. I never considered bed partner. She didn't have that kind of capability. Holding hands was enough to make her nauseated. I fell silent. Why stop guessing? I said. Because I can't guess. She chuckled. Can't guess, or don't dare to guess. Don't want to guess. I kept a cold face, reaching for the car handle. It's an honor to meet with President Liu, but since I don't know what you mean, and it's already late, I'll be leaving now. Goodbye. She propped her head on her hand, watching me lightly. She said nothing, but the look gave me an ominous feeling. Sure enough, when I went out later to find some fun at a bar, the security politely asked me to leave. The owner even came out personally, apologetic. This is Miss Liu's place. Sorry, I didn't believe it. I tried several other places in a row. Same result. Either Willow owned them, or her friends did. Damn these rich people. I was ready to fight them all. Sulking, I bought milk tea and wandered the streets with a friend. My friend whispered that a car had been following us. I turned around. Willow's car. Relentless. I told my friend to head home, then strode over and banged on her car window. Her face was calm, expressionless. I demanded, Willow, what do you want? Don't you like my brother? The one I like is you. Willow said, I'm pursuing you. I was stunned. Pursuing me? Are you insane? Can you just stay away from me? Didn't we already settle everything? We settled the wrong part. She stepped out of the car, her stiletto heels making her just tall enough to meet my eyes. But her gaze was so overwhelming it made my legs feel weak. She reached out to fix the hair the wind had blown across my forehead. Her fingers brushed against my earlobe. I jerked my head away, and she withdrew her hand, smiling softly. You look like you really want to hit me. I glared at her. She leaned in slightly, lowered her head, her expression devout. Go ahead. Hit me. I was speechless. What was she doing? It had only been a year. How did the cold beauty transform into a lunatic? But honestly, the offer was very tempting. I really wanted to see how a clean freak would lose her mind. I remembered all the trouble I'd suffered before because of her obsession with cleanliness. My hand itched with anticipation. Tentatively, I reached out and touched her face. She didn't dodge. Instead, she leaned closer. Continue. Chapter 13. I was stunned. This was insane. I grabbed her hand, pinched her face, the absolute forbidden zone that used to set her off in fury if I so much as brushed against it. Now I could touch however I pleased. She looked at me calmly. I like you when you touch me. I'm happy. Before, I was too cowardly and weak to admit my feelings. And I hurt you. I'm sorry. She carefully guided my hand against her face. Today was just to get your attention. From now on, I won't restrict your freedom. I don't expect your forgiveness. I only hope you'll let me, like this, watch you from afar. My scalp tingled. I was about to say something when suddenly, a passerby I had ignored, the one fiddling with a phone under a helmet, pulled it off, revealing Maria's face. No wonder, President Liu, you almost made me cry with those words. For a second, I nearly believed you weren't the one who threatened George's girlfriend abroad into breaking up with him. Willow's face didn't change. It wasn't me. Want me to show George the evidence? Maria walked over to my side, leaning close to whisper in my ear. Don't believe her. Business people are all heartless. They say one thing, but who knows what they really do. Willow's eyes narrowed dangerously. Just the other day, I had tea with your father. He was worried about your idle lifestyle and asked me to keep an eye on you. From the looks of it, Miss Maria, you've made no progress. Instead, you're busy tarnishing my reputation. Seems I'll have to speak with your father again. Maria sneered. Oh, old lady Liu, So you do know you're the same generation as my dad. Where'd you get the courage to confess to George? Then she brainwashed me directly. George, a woman like her, already in her 30s, drowning in work and social obligations, her prime won't last. Soon she'll just be a withered flower. Not like me. I've got money, free time. I work out regularly. My body's perfectly healthy. Don't believe me? Feel for yourself. I hurriedly said. No, thanks. Willow leaned casually against the car, cigarette between her fingers but unlit. Miss Maria, youth is fleeting. Have you thought about the long term? Your father arranged quite a good match for you. Your mother is very pleased and hopes you'll settle quickly. They won't accept a son-in-law beneath their family's status. And you laze around all day, without the strength to stand against them. If they decide to trouble George, what do you have to protect him with? Maria's face darkened. That's none of your concern. The two of them kept striking at each other's weak spots, while I stood to the side silently eating popcorn. In truth, that older blind date partner my family once arranged for me, the one 10 years older, had been Willow. After I ran away, my brother, under my parents' pressure, got engaged to her. They spent some time together, until Willow broke it off, citing incompatible personalities. When my brother left the country, my parents still refused to give up on the alliance with Willow. They wanted me to quit school and return home, but Willow stopped them. To make my parents give up entirely, she signed a contract with me, until my brother returned. We'd pretend to be lovers. If either of us started dating someone else, or the moment my brother came back, the relationship would end immediately. I only half believed her words. The way she gazed at my face with someone else in her eyes, that couldn't be fake. I guessed she might have had feelings for my brother. But since he didn't like her, when they separated, she went with the flow and got involved with me instead, pretending to protect me, while at the same time earning my brother's gratitude. Maria's situation wasn't so complicated. She never tried to justify her past sea queen antics. Instead, she emphasized that during the year I was abroad, she had stayed chaste, pushing the image of a reformed wild girl. But what did any of that have to do with me? The more I listened, the more confused I became. In the end, I couldn't hold it back and cut them off. What's the point of you saying all this? Both of them turned to look at me. I honestly didn't understand. Even if I were to date, it wouldn't be with either of you. Maria quickly asked. Why? Because it's disgusting. Their expressions both changed. I said sincerely, I don't mean to blame you. Those 2 years, I was young and did wrong. I never loved you. All the kindness I showed, all the affection I expressed, it was all fake. If there had been profit in it, I could have acted it out for a dog. When I say disgusting, I mean I can't stand that when my girlfriend looks at my face, she immediately connects me to my brother, even for 1 second. Not to mention, I've seen the ugliest sides of you. I'm not like you, where a few words can erase the past. I can't forget. The cigarette in Willow's hand was crushed into a mess. Maria lowered her head, her expression dark and unreadable. So, there's really no chance at all? Maria asked hoarsely. None. Still unwilling, Maria's eyes reddened, her voice shaky. If I had met you before Luis, would you have? I cut her off. Don't set up hypotheticals about things that have already happened. Even if you knew the answer, what difference would it make? The present won't change. George. I glanced at the time and gave them a polite smile. I think I've made myself clear. Let's end it here. From now on, we're just ordinary friends. And if we can't even be friends, that's fine too. Strangers aren't so bad either. In any case, don't bother me again. What I hate most is a woman clinging on after I've given a clear rejection. The car I'd ordered finally arrived. I refused their offer to drive me home and left alone. Looking out at the glittering city lights through the window, I thought, I've spoken so firmly this time. Surely, I'll never see them again. I held my breath until the project ended. I never saw them again. Whenever Sophia was present, she kept all her emotions restrained, purely professional. I breathed a sigh of relief. The 3-year farce was finally over. And that was that. It was good. An ordinary, quiet life, that was the real thing. Chapter 14. After the project ended, I went abroad again to continue my studies. Because my landlord had matters to deal with, I had no choice but to change apartments. It was a large flat, 2 units per floor. A month after I moved in, new tenants began arriving one after another. Living abroad, you have to be cautious. I had no intention of socializing with my new neighbors, until one day, in the elevator, I saw Willow, Maria, and Sophia. I froze. Maria was the first to speak. Her eyes lit up as she said, "Hello, I'm your new neighbor. My name is Jessica. If you ever have any trouble, you can come to me." Sophia, calm as ever, said, "Long time no see. George, do you still remember me? I'm Luna." Luna was the name of a senior I barely knew. My gaze stiffly shifted to Willow. She gave me a slight nod, putting on an air of cool detachment. Freya, Jessica, Luna, Freya, Maria, Sophia, Willow. I didn't step in. I just silently closed the elevator doors. Truly, top-tier comprehension. I told them I wouldn't date them, so they pretended to be someone else. Before, I thought I was wrong to feel uneasy, but no, they hadn't given up. They were back, stronger than ever. This ridiculous, chaotic farce was far from over.